Coming down in 3, 2, and 1. Dieter and Hutch back with you. It's the name of the show. It's the name of the hosts. I'm Dieter. He's Hutch. We're talking about training camp 2025 for the San Francisco 49ers. You could say you're excited. You don't have to lie to us, though. It's all good either way. And for a couple of guys, if not a good handful of guys, this is a big deal. Some guys go to training camp, no problem, right? They got their jobs covered. You want to get in shape. You want to get ready for the season, all that. Some guys, this is their livelihoods on the line, and that's what makes the NFL so great. It is high stakes from the second the ball is snapped to the start of training camp. Hell, you can argue it's high stakes year round, and I wanted to get in to some of the battles that we're expecting to see come training camp. And let's start it off, Jake, with kind of a simple one. It's Tanner Mordecai versus nobody, in the sense of, does Tanner Mordecai do enough to make this roster as a third quarterback? We know who one is.
I thought we were going I thought we were going to start with the 49ers versus their practice facility, which of course they would lose. But this is an equally good place to start. I think Tanner Mordecai, sometimes you can be like, ooh, there's a little bit of scoot there. There's a little bit of like, I'm going to convince myself of this guy. But I think he's going to lose that battle. And the 49ers are just going to go with Mac Jones and Brock Purdy because there's a lot of other positions that are going to be more valuable to them. And with that extra emergency QB rule, just play the practice squad game.
Yeah, it will be interesting. If he has a good preseason, maybe that practice squad game gets a little bit trickier. I'm going to doubt that in general. It'd have to be a pretty damn impressive preseason, like Purdy 2023-esque, which they just felt like they couldn't put him out there because someone was going to grab him.
And we'll find out quickly through the Greg Papa waves where, we go, I don't see anything, and someone on the team has told them that he's lighting it up.
Right. You also have to remember Curtis Rourke was drafted by this team, and while he is not somebody who is going to factor really into the Niners 2025 plans, it does create a bit of a cushion. You're not losing your depth quarterback of the future because you have two of them, and one of them isn't healthy, and you figure it out from there. But having Curtis Rourke does give the 49ers a bit more wiggle room here. I want to go to running back next. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey's the starter. We've talked in the past about what Isaac Guerendo could be or should be, but I do think that there's a battle here for maybe the clear backup job behind Christian McCaffrey. Does Jordan James, the rookie out of Oregon, come in, 5th-round pick, and take Isaac Guerendo's carries, relegating him to a gadget role?
I think no, but I do think that calculation could change mid-season. I think it could change. I mean, and granted, like if Jordan James just shows up and looks outstanding, I think the 49ers aren't all that comfortable with Guerendo just because of that limited experience, but they do want to put him out there because of the upside. I think there's a world where McCaffrey goes down and James looks more comfortable, looks more reliable, and takes the bulk of the carries, and Guerendo is a change of speed, and then James becomes number 2 that way. Yeah. I think there's a path to that. For me, I still would bet on Guerendo. I mean, the traits are outrageous. James is a good player, but he's just okay.
We're going to find out exactly what he is. Yeah. Let's also add
Maybe I'm wrong on that. Yeah.
Let's add into the mix here Patrick Taylor, who is, I think,
PTJ?
Sure. Let's go with that. Special teams Pat. An outstanding special teams player. Like, I don't know, ace, but he's a really good special teams player. He's valuable to the team on special teams. And then you're going to have Israel Abanikanda, who can, in theory, run very fast in a straight line and has some pass catching ability. Yeah, I mean, can't we all? You give me enough time. And then Corey Kiner, who can't run fast in a straight line, but is an actual running back, which
he's a little beefy bowling ball.
Sometimes we forget that matters.
Yeah, we'll see. There's gonna be a little something there. I don't know if he's more than a jag, but we'll see.
I think that he'll get a lot of opportunities in training camp, probably more than Taylor. Taylor, I think, would have to do something catastrophic, which is very much in the cards when he's carrying the ball. Every time he carries it, you're like, what is it you say you do here? If he looks in any way competent as a ball carrier, he's the 4th running back. If it is so bad you have to open yourself up to possibilities, then Kiner or Abanikanda can get in there, and you just have to have a tougher conversations with your special teams coordinator. So there's that. Let's quickly hit tight ends. Third tight end. This is the stuff that the algorithm loves, Jake.
For competition,
Yeah, it
Jake
is
Tonjes, Ross Dwelly, Braden Willis. I
hot
guess
damn.
Mason Pline's on the roster. They'll keep one because they're gonna try and use more 2 tight end sets.
Right.
But really, their second, third tight end is just juice. It's Juice and Luke Farrell, and then maybe you keep Dwelly around. I would prefer, if it's me running the team, you keep Dwelly on the practice squad because he's, again, I feel comfortable saying this, not a very good player. He just can't. I'm not trying to be mean.
No, you're not
He's
being
an
mean. It's factual.
incredibly nice guy. He's just not a good blocker. He's not a very good player. He's got great hands, outstanding hands. But I mean, that doesn't give you much when your backup tight end. You'd like him to be able to do some of the dirty work, and maybe that is Dwelly at this point, but not an exciting competition for TE3.
No, and honestly, you can throw any of the 4 names at me there: Dwelly, Willis, Tonjes, or Pline, and you can make the case. And more honestly, you can make the case against all of them for the job. So maybe something to keep an eye on as rosters get cut down. And who knows? Maybe there is a team out there in the year of our Lord 2025 that has an overload of tight ends. Maybe Kyle Pitts finally gets released from the hell that is Atlanta via a trade, and the 49ers slide in. They still have a lot of cap space. They still have some roster needs. Wouldn't be shocked if this team was making moves in training camp to add players that we know all about the offensive line, Jake, because we talk about it more than any other show on the internet, and I defy anybody to actually, I don't want you to go out and cross-check that.
Please don't.
Not because I'm uncomfortable in what I said, but because you might die in the process. And honestly,
it's not good. It's not good for your well-being.
There's a couple of different battles here that I want to get into. I think maybe it's overly simplistic to view it as A versus B, but let's go overly simplistic. It feels to me as if Nick Zakelj and Matt Hennessy are fighting for one spot on this roster.
Yeah, at center, and then I think Zakelj has a possibility to play left guard as an option. But I really feel like it's interesting because I don't know what Connor Colby's going to do, because they don't like him at left guard. It's Zakelj really versus like Drew Moss, and Drew Moss and Colby at right guard too, to be Pooney's backup, which
Dillard
is weird.
Burford to a degree as well involved there. Austin Pleasance might get into the mix, though it almost feels like he's a roster lock at this point.
Yeah, I think that might be the most interesting one, is Pleasance versus Dillard. And I know in the last one we were talking about Humphreys, and Humphreys is not on the team.
No.
Signed with the Rams. It was awfully interesting.
He just never showed up.
No,
they said he signed. He didn't.
Very odd. Very odd.
And to be fair, I might have mixed up Andre Dillard and Humphreys because
which
at a certain point,
confused me. So
there's just a type. There's a body, and you're just like, yeah, sure, that one.
But it's Dillard versus Pleasance, I think, at right tackle, and I would bet on Pleasance. They seem to like him.
They really do like him. So the back end of offensive line, just a lot of guys. I think they're going to carry 10 offensive linemen. As I said on the 53-man breakdown, Trent, Barch, Brendel, Pooney, McKivitz are your starters. But then you got to find 5 more. And, 5 more. Burford, Hennessy, Moss, Pleasance, Zakelj, Colby, and Dillard all in that mix.
It's a good backup group, to be fair.
Very high floor. With Trent, an arguably high ceiling. As weird as this sounds, I know everyone hates them. I know everyone thinks that they're just the worst. This might be one of the better offensive line groups in the NFL if you believe in the O-ring theory of you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Trent with a lot of rest. McKivitz going for a contract year. Pooney in his second year. Brendel, I think, probably being a beneficiary of the time off. And then I think you can make a case that at left guard, they're going to be a little bit better with Ben Barch and Aaron Banks, which might sound blasphemous, but like, Ben Barch is actually still a pretty young guy who's been in the league and had time to learn, and getting a chance to like be a starter at left guard, where I think he can win that job and win it comfortably. I mean, he will win that job.
I'm a big fan, and the idea that Aaron Banks got $77 million, even in funny money, from anybody, while Ben Barch, who was, ask anybody on the team, you don't even need the truth serum, they'd tell you Barch was better this past year, albeit in limited time.
Yeah.
Tells you something. Let's switch it over to defense. Defensive line, not as positive, not as fun, not as exciting, but a lot of talent, no question about it. Here's why I don't feel as awesome about the defensive line as I do about the offensive line. I see 2 open spots. They will be fought for between Kevin Givens, Kalia Davis, Robert Beal, Evan Anderson, and Sebastian Valdez. Maybe I'm just drinking the offensive line Kool-Aid, but finding 2 players in there, and I would guess right now it's Givens and Anderson as the 2, but like those 5 guys are fighting for a job, and that's not all that fun.
Yeah. My guess is you look at edge, I think it's gonna be Bosa, Michael, Yetur Gross-Matos, Sam O, and Huff. That's 5. And then a defensive tackle, you got Collins, CJ West, Elliott, Evan Anderson, and Kevin Givens. That is the most logical, like, safe guess for me. I do think Sebastian Valdez could displace Evan Anderson, because those are nose guys, right? I think if you're talking about a 1-to-1, that's an option. Kalia Davis could get himself in the mix if he's healthy and has a great camp, but that has never happened. So until I see otherwise, that's kind of where my head at is with it. I don't see anyone. I think Robert Beal's done. I just can't. He's showed nothing to impress me, and I don't think he's impressed the 49ers all that much. So I think that's probably the likeliest group.
I mean, but that's where we're at, right?
And a lot on the rookies.
It's a lot on the rookies, a tremendous amount on the rookies. And I should probably have prefaced all of this with this fact. It's kind of like a fantasy baseball saying, shout out to the CBS Fantasy Baseball Daily podcast. And shout out Jurassic Park. They like to say that life finds a way. Like some of these battles that they're going to go into, like it's not actually going to be a battle.
Yeah.
Because someone tweaks a knee or someone just shows up to camp and they totally suck. Like it will be plainly obvious on some of these. And there might be battles that we're not even prognosticating about right now. Like we can't foresee because of injuries and things like that. This is the beauty of the NFL. It's the danger of the NFL. So yeah, take your injury settlements if you can get them, guys. That's right. That's a huge win. Linebacker. I'm not sure if linebacker is going to be so much of a battle, but it is going to be extremely important to watch during training camp. D. Winters, Nick Martin, Tatum Bethune. I'd throw in a Chaz Surratt there just to mix it up.
Stone Blanton, Luke Gifford. I think Gifford is someone they're going to like with his size and special teams acumen. Surratt played for Saleh. It's going to be really interesting to watch. I don't know to even make it a 1-to-1 competition. I think it's going to be a pretty wide open group.
Yeah, I don't think that it will be too much of an issue in terms of, someone's got to go and that's going to be a tough call. I think that everybody kind of knows where they're at. The one guy who could really mix this thing up is Stone Blanton. I'm not going to place that bet right now. I've heard positive things about him. He was a great player at Mississippi State, one of the best tacklers in the country, which is why I always kind of roll my eyes when they say Nick Martin was one of the best tacklers in the country. Well, so is Stone Blanton, and no one's talking about him the same way they're talking about Martin. So what's the difference? I thought it was all just about tackles, Jake. I'm digressing. Cornerback. We got 2 trays left. We started with 3. We have 2. Avery.
It's basically who's CB3, because there's Darrell Luter, Trey Brown, Trey Avery.
Yeah.
And then there's like Cyron Neal.
Who I would not totally discount as of right now.
Yeah, I would put Darrell Luter as the leader in the clubhouse at CB3. After that, probably Trey Brown, just based off of what he's accomplished.
Agreed.
But Trey Avery had a pretty good OTAs. I think he looked good. Nickel feels like Upton Stout, and then just Lenore if Stout gets hurt.
You could also go with Trey Brown there. You could also go with Avery there.
It's true.
I think they like their depth, particularly when we get to safety and Marquise Sigel, where maybe you can put him there if that's something that is available.
He could play you some nickel. He could play you some. That's mainly what he did at K-State.
Yeah, you also get a little Dallas Flowers in your life, a little Cyron Neal. And maybe the bigger question is, how many of these guys perform enough to where they demand a roster spot for special teams? When you think about linebacker, you think about tight end, you think about safety, running back. These are positions that are going to spend a lot of time and probably derive for some of these guys all of their value on special teams. This is the first year where it feels like guys are going to be fighting for special teams jobs. And I don't think I'm not going to personally pretend to have like a depth chart for that.
Yeah.
I know that it exists. I haven't seen it. I couldn't build one in my mind, but I do think that, okay, yes, George Odom gets into this as well.
That's what I was going to go to. Yep.
Guys who can contribute on special teams might get tiebreakers in this, as opposed to making the special teams units out of sort of discarded parts of guys who, yeah, they made the roster, but it's going to be special teams first, I think, as opposed to, okay, what kind of ingredients do we have? Let's make a ratatouille or something.
I love making a ratatouille.
I know you do, buddy. That's why I threw it your way.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think that'll play a big part in safety. Richie Grant, Jason Pinnock. I think Pinnock is supposed to be a decent special teamer. That'll matter. That'll matter a lot. I will say, because I know some people are going to be watching this and pulling their hair out because we completely skipped wide receiver.
Is there really a battle? I mean, like,
no. It's yeah, there is.
It's Junior Bergen or a practice squad call. Like, could you practice squad him?
It's
and
not
then
so
add
much
another guy.
It's not so much who they're going to keep, because I think it's going to be Jennings, Robinson, Cowing, Watkins, Pearsall, and probably Bergen, because I can't imagine Russell Gage ain't doing it. Tariq Owens ain't doing it. I'm not impressed with Isaiah Nair, and Isaiah Hodgins hasn't showed me enough yet, but he's a veteran. So maybe. It's more hierarchical, if you will.
There we go.
So we'll see.
But in that, I mean, then we have to get granular, right? We talk wide receiver, but like we're really talking X receiver. We're talking Z receiver. Who's going to be your third down slot guy? Your best third down slot guy might have to play X. Your Z in Pearsall.
But maybe on third down, you just put Jennings in the slot. And that's how it works.
No problem with. I'd be pro that. But then how does Jacob Cowing fit in? A first and second down slot receiver for a team that plays 11 and 12 personnel? And I'm prognostic. That's a push on the 12, right? That's just me speaking it into existence in a lot of ways. I've heard about it, but until I see it, like they might get to training camp and be like, that whole 12 personnel thing, that was dumb. We're not doing that anymore. So yeah, a lot of questions there. No questions about what's going on with the other special teams guys. You got a long snapper, you got a punter, kicker.
Yeah, I'll take Moody. I can't. I think I'd be shocked if Moody didn't win it initially. But over the course of the year, that's going to be worth monitoring. If he starts looking shaky, that leash will get shorter and shorter.
Also very interested to see who your kick and punt returners are, because you bring in Bergen, but Cowing is there. Pearsall can be really good at that. I think you have options. Watkins, I think you have good options. Kick returner in particular, it has to be Garendo, right?
Yeah, it has to be. I can't. It's just the fastest guy who can, and maybe that's not what does it, but like it has to be Garendo.
So maybe you have one guy back. I'm fascinated. Special teams.
They were doing Jordan Mason too, which was weird. He didn't feel like the right one.
No, that was not the right one. But like, would Jordan James be a good option there? I don't know. I mean, I could tell you Kiner wouldn't. So we get into all of that. Is there one particular battle that you get to training camp and you're going to be like, let's boogie, lock in. This is what I want to watch all day. Like I give you full access to the field. I turn off the music. You get to lock in with one battle for an entire practice, scrimmages, drills, all of it. Which one do you want to watch?
I just want to see Alfred Collins and CJ West just all day. Are they alive? Are they looking capable? What do we got? And then I can watch the rest of the defensive line group and see if Sebastian Valdez is anything. That's really all I'd like to see.
I want to say offensive line, but I've already manifested that into the real world. We know that to be the case. So let's pivot a little bit here. I want to see these safeties. I want to see everything they have to offer. I'd love it if you can get me a headset so I know what they're trying to do out there. That'd be good. If Kyle, Robert, if you're watching, first off, thanks for watching and making it this far.
Second off, large head. So think about that headset-wise.
You're going to need that special headset. It's all
going to need that Mochi.
Noggin. 7 7/8. This is a special hat. I'm not even half kidding. I have to get them. New Era doesn't even make them anymore. You should have seen the trouble I went through to get this.
Big head, big brain.
Might be a lot of air in there. Regardless, I want to see the safeties because they're going to take 4. I don't foresee 5 unless Sigel really separates himself as like a wild card jack of all trades Kyle Hamilton type. That is a big ask. So in that, yes, injuries are going to be a factor, but you got Odom and his special teams prowess. How much weight does that carry? You got guys like Mustafa, who if he's back, he's sliding right in, but how much can he give you early? Do they delay on that?
Yep.
I want to know what the hell Jair Brown is going to be, because he still has an opportunity to be the kind of player they want him to be, but it's his last opportunity, if we're being honest. And
he's hurt, so
yeah, we got to find out what that's about. Grant and Pinnock, is it one thing when you have pads on? Is it another thing when you
one
don't?
of them will make it. One of them will make it.
No
Maybe.
question about it. And then you get into Flowers and Neal, and it gets pretty wonky pretty fast at safety. And as I like to say, I'm a big fan of safeties. I'm not even going to say it. If you don't know it by now, you're not a subscriber, you're not an official sicko, but you can remedy that fact right here, right now. Subscribe. We reply to all the public subscribers in the comments. So if you got something you want to say to us and you're a public subscriber, we'll give it back. And then if you're an official sicko, you get all this stuff a little bit early. You get all of our great stuff that we provide on the side, including a guide that gives you all the details, all the things you need to know about the rookies on this team, and everything you're going to need to know about the 2025 49ers before the season starts, and lots of other really fun perks, including the ability to chat with us during live shows, not just throughout training camp, but throughout the season as well. That is sickos only, and we love you guys. Can't wait to talk to you when we get back, or when we get into training camp. It's going to be hot and heavy. By the time you see this, it's probably already too late. But Jake, plug the Hutch Report, and we'll get the hell out of here.
Yep. Go click on my Substack, subscribe to the Hutch Report for free. Doing some good stuff over there. Should have some good stuff as training camp goes. So appreciate you folks, and we'll talk soon.
Stay sick.